let you go. There's no way. I'm already still burning. So hold me close. Now, baby, I do what I'm told. Still learning to take my chances, to take my time, to keep on dancing, to walk that line, yeah. You got me shifting the paradigm. No longer wishing. You're my lucky strike. Love the way you ride. Look into my eyes, say you're ready to go. $1 million life, yeah. We could roll the dice. Act like you're surprised, but you already know. Oh yeah, got lucky overnight. Jackpot when I got the invite. Let me wrap my arms around you, cause I can't go home without you. And my heart just vibe with you, babe. Wanna go sky high with you, babe. Gotta bring you close to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. Cooler than cold, I'm all in. So load up the dice, so heavy. The way that you roll, I'm falling. So I never fall. I'm ready to take my chances, to take my time, to keep on dancing, to walk that line, yeah. You got me shifting the paradigm. No longer wishing. You're my lucky strike. Love the way you ride. Look into my eyes, say you're ready to go. $1 million life, yeah. We could roll the dice, yeah. Act like you surprised, but you already know. You're my lucky strike, and I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my.
All right, folks. Well, you know you're in for a treat when you hear that tune, because it means it's time for another episode of the Rec Poker Podcast. I've got the best job in the world. I get to hang out here every week and talk to luminaries from the poker world, along with all my friends on the wrecking crew. So I'll just say, if you don't know what Rec Poker is about, we're a group of fun but serious, winning, recreational amateur players. We love sharing our love of poker with the world, and we do it mostly for free. A lot of what we do here at Rec Poker is volunteer-based. It's free to join. So we'd love for you to go to rec.poker and sign up for a free account right now. All it takes is an email address and a smile. And because so much of it is free, we got to thank our sponsors, the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino, and Mark Prashant over at Website AMP. And we also got to thank our premium members like the amazing Troy Graffentine, who's been a member since way back when. Saw his name come across my screen earlier today, and I just wanted to say, Troy, thank you so much. Your $15 a month helps us immensely with all that we try and do here at Rec Poker. And if you're thinking about joining up into our premium program, I'd encourage everyone to check us out. It's if you use the code Rec Poker, it's only $5 to join for your first month, and only $15 a month after that. And you never know who you're going to find around the corner. If you want to find out about our wrecking crew, the group, the kind of core team that puts a lot of our stuff together here, you can go to rec.poker/crew, or you can just listen up because you're about to hear from a few of them right now.
Well, I'm Chris Jones. You can find me 5B5 on Twitter or 5x5 in the PokerStars home game.
And I'm John Somsky. I am Poker Geek MN everywhere.
I'm Rob Washam, and I'm Rabman50 just about everywhere.
And I think I said my name's Jim Reid. I've got the best job in the world. I'm Blusterini in the home games and at Rec Poker Jim on Twitter. We're going to be talking to the one and only Sarah Stefan soon. This is an exciting one. We've been looking forward to getting Sarah on the show for a while. So what the heck? Let's just jump right in. So Sarah, we got a chance to meet officially down in Las Vegas very briefly as part of the rivalry around the tag team event between the Rec Poker teams and the Poker Power teams. And you guys whooped us. You whooped us good. The Poker Power team was the last team standing.
Nice.
So congratulations on that. But that was a lot of fun. It was nice to meet you in person.
You as well. Yeah. You know, I know that you've known AJ for a while. And so she's always talked about you. So it was good to finally meet you guys as well.
Yeah, well, I feel like we have so much in common, our organizations. You know, we're both very interested in fostering this friendly, inclusive atmosphere around the poker table and welcoming people into it and letting people know how much fun you can have if everyone just treats each other well. And it doesn't seem like it's that much to ask, to be honest with you.
Right.
But here we are. You never know. So AJ's a great friend. We're doing some more work together between Rec Poker and Poker Power as the year goes by, which I'm really excited about. And you two are both in Chicago, is that right?
Yes. Yeah. We played in a home game probably about 15 years ago, and so we've known each other for a long time. So yeah, and then once I started with Poker Power, I invited her to kind of come on board, and now she works for them full time, which is fantastic. So it worked out. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that. I guess I didn't get to this point with you yet, but I don't like to put people in boxes unless we're actually on the felt. So how do you kind of consider yourself in the poker world? You've got a lot of different facets. You're an instructor, you're a player, you're an ambassador. How do you describe yourself when friends ask you what's your role in the poker world?
Yeah, I mean, this is just my passion, my hobby. I have a full-time job. I'm a public school teacher in Chicago. And so, poker's just like been my passion. So when I got to join Poker Power, it was great because I just got to kind of combine those two things that, being a teacher, but getting to teach poker, which I love. So yeah, I'm definitely a rec player, but I put a lot of work into the game and I enjoy it. I travel as much as I can, being off during the summer really lets me kind of, go to the different stops and, sometimes on long weekends. And so, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's great. Well, I see we've got a few people in the YouTube chat. And I encourage all our listeners, if you want to join us for free every week live while we do these recordings, you can come to YouTube and join in, put your questions in for free. And we always do a free draw at the end of the episode where I get to use my nerdy dice to find out who's going to win the prize this week. So anyone in YouTube, feel free to type your questions in. And anyone here in the panel, of course, feel free to jump in anytime. So tell me a bit about, because you've been involved with Poker Power since early days there. Tell me a little bit about how that organization came together and sort of what it's become over the last little while.
Yeah. So basically, Jenny Just is the founder, and she is just an amazing woman. She has a lot of different sort of facets, but she started a trading company, basically Peak Six downtown in Chicago. And so poker's kind of always been around her, in that industry. They played it a lot. She wasn't a poker player, but her husband played, and, they would have tournaments there at Peak Six. And one day, a few years ago, her teenage daughter came home from a tennis match, and she had lost the tennis match, and her husband was, kind of frustrated at it. And he's like, it doesn't even seem like she knows that there's an opponent in front of her. She's not thinking about any strategy. And then he offhandedly said, we should teach her how to play poker. And how her mind works is she kind of was like, we should teach her how to play poker, because all you think about is your opponent and their strategy. So she kind of sat with that for a little bit. And then she started just doing some groups with her, the mom friends and their daughters, and they would have a couple groups and they had a lot of fun. And then it just kind of went from there. So her assistant, they were looking for like a female poker player in Chicago. And I, there's just not a lot of female poker players in general. And so I had done like one, Jeremy Smith, who used to direct the HPT, had asked me to do like a tiny little interview for an Indiana newspaper about what it was like to be a woman in poker. And so her assistant had just Googled female poker players in Chicago. And I think that's like the only thing that came up. And so she reached out to me. And then I got to go downtown and meet them and like hear about their vision. And it kind of just went from there. And so then it started, and it started live. Like I would go to the suburban like libraries outside Chicago and just teach high school girl groups how to play poker. And it was a blast. And then COVID happened. So we really, actually worked out because we transitioned to virtual, and then we were able to expand. And now we've done thousands of, women. We've taught thousands of women already in the last few years. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And that must have been a real adjustment from teaching live to doing it exclusively online. I'm sure a lot of organizations have gone through that. But what were some of the differences in the way that you like approach learning or teaching as a teaching professional? I'm kind of curious to get your take on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's so much harder online, because poker's such I don't know. I like the live. I don't really play online a ton like I will, but I like it. I like the live aspect. I think it's more fun, and it's a hard game to learn, when you're online, because, the girls that we were teaching had just zero experience. And so, you're not only learning a whole vocabulary, but then you're playing on an app and you're trying to figure out like what the controls are, like, how do I check? We use like Poker 2 and a lot of our games. So that's kind of like a confusing app anyway. Like, how do I check? How do I fold? How much do I bet? And it's fast, because it's online. So that was super challenging. And, live, we would go a lot slower in the sense that we would talk through like, let's play what's the nuts, and let's like do 10 hands where we can just, talk through like what would the best hand be in this situation. So it was hard, but we figured it out. We had a couple great like Melanie Weisner helped a lot with our curriculum.
She's great.
Yeah, she's amazing. And so, we were able to do it. But it was for sure challenging. And now, with COVID, kind of on getting better, we're able to do some more live events. So that's been a lot of fun too.
Nice.
Going back to live.
I know Chris has some questions from YouTube. I'm going to jump in with one take off there. So you're a professional teacher. Are there some common elements to teaching games as well as sort of teaching a more typical curriculum, and what kind of things stay the same as you're in that position?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely it's all about just building a foundation, right? And so just like teaching, it's like you have this end goal and you have to kind of like backwards plan, be like, well, what do you need to, in order to learn this? Like, you need to know this, and then this, and then this. And it's the same thing in poker. So just really building from the basics. It's like, if you're going to learn, how to bluff, well, first you need to know what types of hands do I bluff? Is this a bluff? Is this a value bet? Like, and that's where I think a lot of people struggle in the beginning, is they just are so unsure about the strength of their hand that sometimes you don't even know what, why you're betting. Are you betting for value? Are you betting as a bluff? So you just kind of gotta like, sort of roll back all the assumptions of like what and that's what's hard, because as poker players, it's just, there's so much to learn, and sometimes you forget the very like that you just assume that people would know things that they wouldn't, and so you kind of just gotta like backwards map to the very beginning and start there for sure.
Yeah, that really just struck a chord with me, because I remember in my own poker career when I stopped thinking about the absolute value of my hand and started thinking about the relative value of my hand, given the board and the action and all that kind of stuff. And we do kind of take that for granted now that we've been, playing as long as we have. But it's a really important step in someone's journey to sort of like know where they are. And it's hard to do that without getting reps in and sort of getting familiar with the environment like that. Yeah, that's really interesting. Great point. All right, Chris?
Well, I would just add to that, like, I remember the moment I like figured out, like, oh, this is many years ago, but like, you can't have a full house without a paired board. You can't have, like those things didn't, when I first started playing, that didn't even occur to me. I was like, oh, somebody randomly has a full house, but anyway. But
yeah.
But Sarah, one of the I've got audience question and a question of my own. You mentioned preferring the live game, and Poker Powers. I really am a great admirer of your mission and kind of drawing more women into the game. But one of the things that we do know is that, at least by all the sort of stats that I've seen, is that more women, if percentage wise, play online than play live. And I'm curious about maybe some of your thoughts around what is it about the live game that you enjoy more but that maybe prevents us from reaching some of those numbers that we do see in some of the online environments.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's so many reasons, right? I think number one is just a lot of women don't have the time. You know, it's if you're going to go play a tournament or like a cash game session, you need, you know, at least 3 to 12 hours. You know, you're probably going to have to travel there and back an hour. And so it's just, you know, people are moms, they have families, like it's hard. It's just hard for them to find the time for sure. And I just think like the environment, it's definitely intimidating, you know, when you walk in and you are, you know, one of 1, 2, 3 women in like a room of 100 people, and you've never done that before. Like if you don't have somebody to go with the first time, I think a lot of women probably peek in that room and then just walk out, you know, because they don't want to look stupid,
Yeah.
you know, even though it's part of it is just like learning and getting comfortable. But, you know, it's intimidating, I think, for a lot of women. And, you know, just because they already feel like out of place, and then they don't know what to do. So it's like, well, what am I going to do when I sit down at the table for the first time? Like, you know, like, do I need cash? Can I pay with the credit card? You know, it's just, people don't know. And so I think unless you have someone kind of holding your hand that first time, it's intimidating for sure.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I love about sort of watching the growth of what Poker Power has done. It seems like that there's almost like a buddy system in some ways, like, and you're constantly sort of like cheering for each other and traveling with each other. And there's sort of this sort of growth that happens that way, which I think is really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, we had a woman, a couple, but one of them I met at the ladies event, who flew out. She had never played live before, and she flew out to Vegas from the East Coast, like for the ladies event. And she came to the booth and was like chatting, and she was having the time of her life, you know. But again, like, we're there, like she can come and be like, hey, what do I do? Like, oh, you need to get a player's card. You need to do this, you need to do that. And, you know, we were there to help. So, but it's, you know, more of our women are doing that. And it's so fun to see and to meet them in person, and they're putting themselves out there, you know. It's great.
Well, and so we have a related kind of audience question. Dark Angel is asking, Sarah, what do you think of the turnout at of the ladies at the WSOP? The quote here is 6% of the field was ladies overall. I know in the UK, I've definitely seen it grow from the first ever ladies event, which had 7 players, to now over 100 ladies playing.
That's
so
great.
What do you think about sort of your experience at the WSOP and sort of the women's turnout at some of these events that you've been seeing?
Yeah, well, I actually don't know this stat, but 6% seems slightly higher, I think, than before. I think it was like 4% maybe last time. So that's great. I think I'm seeing just more women in general for sure at, you know, not as much at the main event, but definitely the side events, the Millionaire Maker, like those types of events. I'd say, God, if I thought about it, probably at least half of the tournaments that I played in had more than one woman, like at my starting table, which is a little bit rare and great. So, I mean, people are definitely becoming more comfortable putting themselves out there more. And, you know, I just think like there's so many more resources now that are accessible to, like training and classes and stuff that, you know, hopefully that's causing women to be more comfortable going in there for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to know 20 years from now, looking back on what the next little while looks like. You know, I'll be really curious to see what are the factors, the variables that people start working on when it comes to this kind of stuff. Because I thought like the tag team event where the beatdown occurred. Okay, fine. Don't have to keep bringing it up, right. Sarah. Okay, get off my back about it.
I know.
That I thought had a lot of women players in it. Like I had 4 at my table. Every time I looked around, I thought like each table had more than one woman playing it. I mean, it was phenomenal. And maybe there's an element of that like buddy system aspect to that. That did feel like a very social, fun event, even though we were all trying our best. Okay, yeah. we were doing our best over there.
Hey, I think me and Kaina went out first, so I can't say anything. It wasn't me. I didn't bust us though.
Oh yeah, well, and I should be really clear for our Rec Poker listeners that George Sanford, who was my partner, was a perfect partner, and I was the one that put the chips in bad at the end there. Yep, but we talked about it. We're all cool. We're cool, George.
Yeah.
And I you know. I don't want to talk to you about women's issues just because you're a woman. As it happens, it's something that we're really focusing on right now. In fact, and I'll just say for our audience members, on August 9th at 7:30 Eastern, Kim Petvet Kilroy is going to be doing her monthly poker empowerment session here at Rec Poker. It's free for everybody to join. You don't need to be a premium member. Tuesday, August 9th at 7:30. She's got some exciting news. We're going to be changing the format of the group, and she would really like to get some more input from some of the other women here at Rec Poker and also beyond. In fact, I might send you a note offline, Sarah, and see if we could get some more voices in the room for that, because it's something that, anyway, so on that note, is there... Is there something other than just having guys be less dicks at the table? Like, because I think we're attracting a lot of women to the game of poker. And like Chris is saying, like the number of players online versus the number of players live seems to indicate that, you know, it's easier to play online. As you point out, not everyone has time to commit to the live game. But retaining the players that come to the live arena seems to be an issue as much as anything else. And I'm kind of being flippant about it, but do you think there is something other than just being better allies at the table and ostracizing more of the jerks?
Yeah, I mean, I just think like there just needs to be more, I don't know. I feel like sometimes, like especially with this year, like they weren't even going to stream the ladies event online. You know, like there's things like that that could be very easily fixed. I just think like, also, I think like poker coming off like mainstream TV, I think that's bad, you know? I mean, you got to have a Poker Go subscription. I mean, most poker players who play a lot probably don't pay for a Poker Go subscription, you know? So I just think like, it just needs to be out there more, you know, in general, in order to attract a newer audience and, you know, because you're not going to really get that exposure. So I think that's important. You know, in order to grow the game. And I just think like it's going backwards for some reason.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, kudos to Poker Power. I know you guys put a lot of emphasis on getting younger people as well involved. And I think that's super important for everybody. For sure. And it should be an attractive game for younger people because it's a place to compete. You know, that's one of the things I love about it is it's an area where I'm going to be able to compete for the rest of my life, hopefully, when my knees and back aren't what they used to be, you know? Right.
And I think like for younger people too, it's like a bankroll issue. You know, we have some different clubs in different colleges. You know, I think like if there was some organized way to kind of do like, you know, a system, you know, like a community, like a tournament, you know, where somebody wins a seat to the WSOP, like at different colleges and things like that. I just feel like that could be something fun too. There's definitely things we can do that would be easy. But again, it's like, sometimes the game has a stigma. And so people don't even want to hear your idea for it because they're like, oh, gambling, this, that. So, you know, that's one issue that we need to overcome in general too. So
yeah, that's true.
Sure.
Yeah, a stigma across the board.
Yeah.
Well, I want to take a quick second and thank some of our international viewers, Dark Angel and Troy, calling in from more than halfway around the world. So good morning to you too, and thanks for coming in there. And Jay Fleming, a new name in the YouTube chat. So nice to see you as well here. So you are working primarily with beginner players, and then you turn them into intermediate players. And I'm sure you're also working with intermediate players. What are once people have kind of got the basics down and they've played a bit, what are some of the kind of pivot points that you see in your students, in your clients, where there's kind of those moments of epiphany where they, start thinking about poker in a new light and take that next big step?
Yeah, definitely see that. Some people, you know, they don't take to the game, but we have a really a good solid percentage of our players who we have community games every day online. They're free, they're just for fun. And we have women who show up every day and play these games, you know, and and I monitor them, you know, so it's fun to see their play style change. You know, you can tell the beginning players are still experimenting. They're trying to figure out what to do and what hands to play, and but then you really see the intermediate players getting a lot better, you know, with their bet sizing, and you know, they do things like they trap in different places, and they you know, they make some really cool bluffs, and they bluff catch sometimes. So it's cool, and it's a great way to like build the community. So that's fun to see. And then I mean, then it's great to see them just want to play live. Like, we have a member, Emily, who was one of our first players, and she was at the Aria. We both played like a $400 ladies tournament together there. So I got to see her, and you can just see them asking the right questions, and so that's kind of like the turning point when you're giving all this information and you can tell they're taking it in, but a lot of it goes in one ear and out the other, but you can really tell that they get it when they come back with a question for you. They're like, well, hold on, like I did this, like, should I have done this? Or, hey, Emily was asking like, hey, like, how do you adjust for cash games instead of tournaments? Like, what's the difference? So you can start to see the light bulbs go off when they have some really good questions and hands that they want to talk about.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. And like sharing that with other people is such a key step in your journey. Like, I know a lot of our members, we used to just read books and listen to the podcast and kind of like learn in a silo, but getting involved with a team, putting yourself out there on the forums, getting other people's opinions about what you could have done differently, that was a real game changer for a lot of us. I'm sure it's the same with you and your clients. Yeah,
we had two, like Tammy and Liz, two of our instructors, just did I think they're finishing up, but they partnered with the Women's Poker Association. They did an advanced class. It was like 6 weeks, like 1 hour a week. It was not part of like the general Poker Power curriculum, but a ton of women signed up for that, and they talked about like how to use pre-flop charts and like floptimal and that kind of thing. So, it's fun to see some of the women just really, really wanting to work on that strategy.
Yeah, nice. Rob, you've got something?
I was just curious, as a poker instructor, and we kind of feel that we are ourselves here in our wrecking crew. You obviously had to do some studying of your own. So I'm curious how you progressed your own game enough to feel comfortable enough to start instructing others.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's so important. I just learned through my friends, and I think like COVID actually made me become so much better, because we would have a group of friends where we would play tournaments together and Zoom together, and we would just talk hand histories all night long. You know what I mean? And that to me was just the most beneficial, is what I actually did, and what should I have done? What were the different like things that I could have, actions that I could have chosen to take? And to me, like finding people who are better than you and just talking hand histories with them, I think is the most important. And then actually, like I signed up for Faraz Jaka's coaching program as well, and that's helped a lot too. He's an amazing instructor. The way that he kind of structures his coaching, his group coaching is great. It's really reasonable rate too. So that's been super helpful for me. And then just, I just watch so much poker, anytime there's the WSOP final tables, like listening to the commentary, I think can be really helpful too. Because you can't get, the game is ever changing. So it's like, you can't get stagnant. You can't just assume that you know enough, because, people are going to get better than you. So you definitely have to keep up for sure.
That tees me up well for one of my own questions, which is that a lot of the Wrecking Crew members, we also do coaching with beginner and intermediate players, depending on what they're looking for. We've got a lot of different members here that like to get involved. Is there a sort of like a piece of poker wisdom that you really enjoy imparting to someone who doesn't have it? Like for me, when I'm working with a coaching client and we move into them actually thinking about their opponents having a range of hands and like what that actually means, to the hands that could be in that range, that's just like a turning point for them as a player. I get so excited when I get to do that. Is there anything like that for you when you're coaching? I
think for me, it was really, it's been valuable to, and I know it sounds simple, but like having a plan. Like whenever I see someone at a table make a huge river bet and get check raised, they don't know what to do. It's like, you didn't think about what you were going to do if that happened. And I think for me, it's like, every time I make it do an action, like what am I knowing what I'm going to do, like exactly what I'm going to do, no matter what the player does. Like, what if they call? What if they min raise? What if they, make a 4X? Like, then what am I going to do? Like, am I going to call? Am I going to re-raise them? So I just feel like that sort of, and then Melanie did a really nice job with our lesson on that, like just planning ahead. And I think like, that's the most important thing that, a lot of people don't think about. And again, like you have to with your chip stack too, because you know you have to use sizing, so like you have the perfect amount of chips left in order to do what you want to do in the hand. And to me, that was just a big turning point for me, is really just thinking through the hand, envisioning the hand till its end, and like thinking what I want to do on each street.
And that's obviously you have to have been through a few hands in order to kind of even know what that feels like. So I love that that's something you can kind of get to at one point. Yeah. Chris?
Sarah, one of the things also that I think Poker Power does is you work with sort of companies and organizations and sort of do trainings based around lessons you can learn from poker. And I'm really intrigued by that, because I think poker is a really great sort of training for sort of some life lessons, for some practices in your own life. But I'm curious about, you know, what are some of the like the key things that you think poker can teach us about sort of things outside the game?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, like tilt is such a huge one, because you're just going to be put through it on, like, you know, even like this weekend, I went to the MSBT and my stack was roller coaster, you know, so you're put through it so much, and really being able to like be even keeled and not let anything rattle you, I think this game teaches you so much. And it's hard to get there. And for me, it took a long time, but I think that is like so important, because then you can just go through life and really kind of use that same sort of just mantra, you know, like, I'm not going to let this person bother me. I'm not going to let this situation bother me. It's out of my control. Like, I made the best decision I could, and this is what happened, you know. And not being results oriented, I think, is a huge one for us. Because again, like, did you make the right decision? Yes. Did things go wrong? Yes. It is what it is, you know, like there's nothing we can do there. And so, like, you know, the results oriented, like the emotional, like resilience, I think is important. And learning how to be a good loser, I think is important, because poker, you're going to lose 99.9% of the time when you go play a tournament. Like, you're usually not going to win. You're going to lose at some point, whether you're out first or, you know, whether you play second in the tournament, you still lost. And so I think like that's a huge lesson, and just, again, like perspective taking and like being able to just let it roll off your back. I think that's important.
Well, and actually, this is a great. So thank you for that, and it's a great segue to an audience question where Dark Angel asks, how do you manage with burnout, and how do you manage to not tilt and get your mindset right? So I think you kind of touched on that as being like a really important skill, but what are some specific? How did you learn those lessons? How did you get to the point where you're managing tilt? Yeah,
I think like just the experience, like having a lot of experience where, you know, I don't know, where you're deep in a tournament and you bust, like it can be heartbreaking, right? Because you're so close. Like that happened to me this weekend too. Like I was 26 left and I had like, could have had a million chips, but then the board paired on the river, like again, you know, you're like, not again. But you just, again, it's really detaching yourself from the results. Like, did I play this hand correctly? And am I going to have another chance to try again, you know? And that's too, like, and that ties into bankroll a little bit. Like, you can't put your whole stock in like one big tournament, because that's when you're going to feel so much disappointment. So you want to like make sure you're playing tournaments that you can, you know, afford to continue to try again and again and again. Because, you know, if you put your stock all in one and then you bust, like you're going to be heartbroken, you know. But if you know, like, oh, I can play this tournament again next weekend and the weekend after that, then you know that you're going to have those chances to kind of to take it down and to win. And then like during the moment, you know, sometimes I'll listen to music, I'll take a walk, you know, I'll go outside, get a deep breath, you know, take some deep breaths, come back. I'll text my friends, you know, and tell them to like send me something funny, or tell them to talk me down off the ledge, you know, and they say something funny. I think it's the support system is important too. Like, you know, sometimes you have those friends who like will listen to your bad beat and like make you feel better and you want to talk to them. And sometimes you'll have those friends who just tell you to shut up and get it together. And sometimes you want to talk to them. And so it's like, you got to have that support system. That helps a lot too.
That's a great one. Speaking of support systems, so I want to thank Dark Angel 7091 is Donna Morton, who's a fantastic poker person on Twitter in particular. So folks, everyone should go and follow her at Dark Angel 709. And she's helped lots of poker organizations spread the good word about what they're doing. She helps monitor webinars and moderate stuff like that. So thank you, Donna, for your support. I'm glad we finally got a chance to connect on some of this stuff. Keep up the great work. All right. Well, Sarah, I'm going to give folks one more chance to type any questions in. In the meantime, before we wrap it up, how do you like people to get in touch with Poker Power? We'll talk about you in a second, but what's the best way for people to get lined up with Poker Power, and what does it look like for them as they join and get more involved?
Yeah, you can just go to pokerpower.com, and we offer classes that start at the top of every month in groups of 4. So you can sign up for 4 at a time. 1 through 4 is basics. Lessons 5 through 8 are kind of our intermediate breakthroughs, and then lessons 9 through 12 are brilliance. And so you can either start at the beginning and sign up for lesson 1, or if you feel like you have some experience, you could start and sign up for the middle group of lessons. And they're 1 hour a week on Zoom. It's about 30 to 40 minutes of like a strategy presentation, and then we break into breakout rooms and you plan an app, which we are almost like, we have an app now, which is great. We're still working on some of the bug fixes and things like that, but we utilize our app now in our game. And yeah, you play and get feedback, which is really nice, is the app can deal cards face up. So with beginners, like we can actually online see the cards, we can talk through what you should do. So yeah, you get some coaching from an instructor during that gameplay. And then you're in our community. We do monthly events. We do meetup games sometimes. We do, we did like Kina and I did a heads up lesson recently. So we do like really cool monthly events that are free. So yeah, we encourage everyone to sign up at pokerpower.com.
Yeah, and if folks are at rec.poker, we've got a link to join up with Poker Power in our Learning Partners section. So they're right up there with all the other premium training organizations from around the world that we love to work with here at rec.poker. So you can go to rec.poker/resources and find out more information about them and the other groups there. Sarah, you're getting some very complimentary comments from the chat here from Martha
nice.
and from Donna and a few other people. So on behalf of them and myself, thank you for joining our wrecking crew.
Thank
to
you.
have this conversation.
I had a ton of fun. Yeah, it was great. Happy to come back anytime. So
well, we're going to hold you to that. And I know you have a lot of fun on Twitter. Oh, in fact, we can't let you go before we talk about some railing that's been happening on Twitter recently. So first of all, what's your handle and what's the best way for folks to get in touch with you personally? Is it Twitter or email or smoke signals? What's your preference?
Yeah, Twitter's great. I'm Sarah K. Stefan at Sarah K. Stefan on Twitter, and on Instagram, sarah.poker. So those are, two great ways. You could also just email me, sarah@pokerpower.com as well. Yeah, I do. We have some fun on Twitter for sure.
So, I mean, Chris might tee this up a little better than me, but I know you've been down at MSPT playing a little, but you're also part of a great rail.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's a couple photos that are going around Twitter today. By the time people hear this, it'll be a few days later, but you can go back and check it out. But can you just tell us what makes a good rail? Like what are the qualities that make for a good rail?
Yeah. I mean, you just got to have fun, and so, like I busted 26th yesterday. My friend Angela was still in. So we went and had some drinks. She, on her, she gave us $100 and then
Nice.
another $100 and sent us off. And then we came back and we just had fun. And, it's fun to just be able to cheer on your friends and be like super happy for them, and then there for them when they bust out. But she got 5th. And so for cool 46 grand. So that was great to see.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice investment
fun,
on that $200 worth of drinks too.
I know, right? Yes. Yeah. We had some of the dealers who were done dealing for the day come and be on the rail, like our 2 favorite dealers who are Kathy and Denise, who are the sweetest. And they're the cutest too, because every time I see them, they're like, oh, we did good for you today. Or we I'm so glad like they genuinely feel bad if like I bust when they are dealing to me, and I'm like, it's not your fault. I feel so bad. It's so cute. So they were there. Great. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's great. Well, if people check out your Twitter account, they'll know the photo that I'm talking about. Chris?
Yeah. Just quick question. One last audience question, Sarah. Is Poker Power just available in the US, or is it available outside the US?
Outside the US. Yep. Okay. Anywhere in the world. We have clubs all over.
Okay.
So.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Sarah. We're
Yeah, thank
overdue
you,
to have this
guys.
conversation.
For
You
sure.
guys are going down in the tag team event next year. I'm already
We'll
studying.
see. We'll see. All right.
Well, thanks again for joining us, and we'll talk again sometime soon.
All right,
keep
sounds
keep
good.
up all the great stuff.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye. Well, that takes us to John Somsky's MVP spotlight. We're going to talk about our own home games. You know, Poker Power, you're not the only one doing multiple free home games every day of the week. We got a chance to spread our wings and fly over here, thanks to this man, the one and only John Somsky. John, what's happening over in home game land?
Well, actually, it's not thanks just to me. We do have lots of people playing in these games. Otherwise, they wouldn't actually be happening. Anyway, you're going to kind of see a theme for this week.
Uh-oh.
We'll start on July 18th. A Really Mad Guy, won his third nightly series.
Nice.
And that's his 6th lifetime event.
Yep, we got used to hearing his name.
Yep. And then J.S. Edom, Jeff S. or J. Sedum, maybe, got his 6th nightly victory for the year. Then we come back to A Really Mad Guy again.
Oh.
Mad Guy got his 4th nightly victory for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have John Lutzy got his first nightly victory for the year.
He's a beast.
JB Twin Cities, Joanne Bird got her second nightly victory for the year. And
Rec
yes,
Poker.
Joanne, I do know you are a her. I just, when I'm putting the things together, I sometimes delete the wrong half of, I have the default says his or her, and then I have to delete the portion I'm supposed to delete and got the wrong portion.
Joanne's as far as I know, the only customer in the history of the Rec Poker Moving Company. As far as I know, she's the only recipient of those exact services.
As a matter of fact, I was signed up to help with that move, and then the times got changed and it no longer worked for me. I'm speculating that she just figured I was going to break something if I was involved.
Just like move it out of a window.
Exactly.
Quick, when is John Somsky not available? We got to do this.
Then on July 23rd, Kelly S. 1962-20. Kelly Stork got her first nightly victory for the year.
Wasn't on a Sunday, was it? Because she's been loading up on those Learn Pro Poker lessons already, and I really can't let Kelly Stork get any better at the game of poker.
That was a Saturday.
Okay. Whew. Good thing.
But also on Saturday, we have A Really Mad Guy, won the daily mixed event. The third
mixed
time.
event. Holy cow.
And you may not remember last podcast, but the previous week, he had also won the mixed event.
Holy.
It always, so the way, this is a little behind the scenes. The way it works is like when we have the mixed events, I clone the previous post and then edit it. And it gets confusing when the same person wins it because I have to go like, wait, did I edit it already or do I need to change? So I have to look a little closer. It's easier. So someone, please, next week, win the mixed event.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's a real help. So he won 2 No Limit Hold'em events and a mixed game event in the same week?
Correct.
Wow.
And the week before, he won at least the mixed event. He may have won another event too. I don't really remember, but he's been coming on strong.
That's in the running for one of the,
I'm just wondering if he's not so mad anymore.
Yeah. It's tough to stay mad when you just keep winning.
That's right. I'd be the pretty chill guy by now. Sort of like resting on my laurels guy. But all right, congratulations, sir.
And then we have our international events. Monkey System, Keith Brandt won the 2 p.m. international event. Or no, he won the 8 a.m. international event. The 2 p.m. event didn't actually run because there weren't enough players signed up.
That's
Remember,
right.
You have to
Game
have
integrity.
Players signed up by the start bell.
International players.
Yep.
If you're listening, I'm looking at you, Donna and Troy, and some other folks chiming in from across the pond. Every Saturday, we have one of our No Limit Hold'em home games at 8 a.m. Central Time and 2 p.m. Central Time. So we got a chance if you're not in the normal North American time zone, there's a chance to swoop in and earn yourself a bronze pin. And John won't say it, but the fact that they're kind of a smaller field typically is a good way to sneak in there. Maybe you only have to beat 20 people or so to get a bronze pin, as opposed to the usual 60 or 70 they're playing in the nightly series. So check that out, folks, every Saturday. And that's we also have one at 8 Central at night, along with our practice mix games on 8 Central on night. John's really working the water wheel real hard on Saturdays, powering up all those different home games that we have going on. It's true.
And I just want to point out that only Jim thinks that people who are not in this time zone area are not normal. I think you're all normal people, and you each have your own time zone, and it's perfectly fine. Okay, then for the LPP Sunday event, we have a brand new victor, first time. Jesse Two Shoes, Jesse Granfors, won his very first Learn Pro Poker event, actually his first Rec Poker event ever. So he can contact Jim at rec.poker to earn his free month at Learn Pro Poker.
Yeah, you send me an email, my man, Jim at rec.poker, and claim that prize. Ryan LaPlante and the Learn Pro Poker crowd put an amazing array of content together. They're constantly updating it. Videos, courses, curriculums, one-on-one coaching sessions with Ryan. It's a great way to improve, and they're one of our favorite partners over at Learn Pro Poker. So don't miss that opportunity. Send me that email, Jim at rec.poker. Well, thanks, John. So what do you think about the notion of adding a few more home games to each weekday? I think if we spread like an hourly on-demand home game, but a lot of people say that it's not the same if you're not playing in them personally. So there's been a real push to have you a little more present in our 16 daily home games. What are your thoughts on this?
Having the tournament director do that sounds good, and I am nominating you to be an excellent tournament director.
All right. Well, John and I are going to have to work this out off screen, but I'm excited for all the new things coming over here at Rec Poker. Yes, Donna, I agree, checking in the chat. And I think what John said is perfectly correct, because I think you're all exceptional and extraordinary over there across the pond. And you can keep all that normal stuff for us Yankees and Canuckians. I got my fill of these jerks already. Trust me. So what else is going on? We're recording the seminar tonight. That's every month. Chris Jones hosts a Cards Up. Well, it's Cards Up for him. The rest of us, we're all playing against each other, trying to lock down the theme of the month. And what happens is we have this playing session. We all get to learn a little something about the theme of the month. And then Chris goes off into the lab, consults with his peer and best friend, Dara O'Carney. And then Dara and Chris, those two rascals, deliver a sort of a breakdown of one or two of the hands that our premium members played in that sort of play along seminar. So we call them the deep dive, because we dive deeply into a different subject matter every month. And tonight we're recording the game that's going to be the focus of next month's theme. But Chris, what are we working on this month? And what have you learned anything yourself as you kind of approach some of this material?
Well, so the coming month in August will be blind versus blind. We'll be looking at some of the blind versus blind pieces. And then the session we're recording tonight is going to be our September month. It gets confusing because we record things and we do things at different times. But so August is going to be blind versus blind, and then September we're going to be looking at defending against c-bets. We just spent the last 2 months looking at c-betting in position and c-betting out of position. Then we're going to do a month of blind versus blind work, and then we're just because of the WSOP, we had to throw something in there that was a little less intensive, which we thought blind versus blind could take care of that. And then so September, the playing session will come back and be talking about c-bets again, but this time from our perspective when we're the player without the initiative, and how do we respond to c-bets.
And I really like the way you're approaching this, Chris, because the opportunity to see bet in position is what Sky Matsuhashi refers to as a bread and butter spot. It's one of the most profitable spots you can find in poker, is being in position with the range advantage, being able to proceed with an aggressive action. So that's something that we really want to study and put in our back pocket. So you followed that up with c-betting out of position, which you'd think would be very similar, but you pointed out some really interesting distinctions. And I think that's something that recreational players really need to learn and pay attention to.
Yeah, it's a point. I think it's an area I see a lot of people making very large errors on, because I don't think it's an area people are that well studied in.
But what's interesting about it is that the concepts aren't that complicated. Like you go through it in less than an hour. We cover a lot of the material, and it's just pretty clear that you should be c-betting less and on certain boards in particular, and how important it is to build up like a check raising range and some other stuff like that. So that's really impressive. And then I'm really looking forward to this next one, defending against c-bets, because I think recreational players, we tend to be a little wide and loose and passive getting to the flop. Often we want to call and get to the flop and see how our hand does. And that means that we're going to be facing a lot of c-bets. And so knowing what are the boards to proceed on, with what kinds of hands, when to check raise, the sizings you can use, that's going to be really high value for a lot of our members. So I hope folks, like I say, come join Rec Poker for free. And if you want to start taking advantage of our learning material, just use the code Rec Poker to get your first month of premium membership for only $5. It includes access to the archive, all the deep dives that Chris has done over the last few years, all the book studies that Rob's put together, all the study groups that we've done with other pros, our learning with partners videos. All these partners across the world share 15 minutes every month of paywalled premium content that they produce with our team, that we can share it with our premium members and show you how great these sites are, and why you should sign up with them. So if you're considering taking the plunge, it's a good time. It's a good time to get involved with Rec Poker. I'll tell you that much. I'm really proud of what we're putting together here. Rob, speaking of Dara O'Carney, we're working through the book study right now. And what are you tapping away at in your current session?
Well, we just finished how the shape of the range changes based on ICM considerations. So in the next session, which will be the third Wednesday of July, we will be discussing deal making. So what happens at the end of a tournament when two or three people at the table said, "Hey, let's chop this up. I'm done playing. I want to do something else now. Let's chop this up." So what consideration should you be considering when you are asked to make a deal?
And it's something that I think especially recreational players like us should look into a little, because it's somewhere where more experienced players are going to be able to actually have a bit of an edge when it comes to deal making, and knowing what the ICM values are, knowing who's willing to give up a little just to make a cash, that kind of thing. So I would say get involved and catch up on, if you can't join the session live, if you're listening a little out of sync, go catch up on some of those book study videos, because that's it sounds boring. Like it sounds like a non-sexy part of poker, but the non-sexy parts of poker is where a lot of the money's made. Sorry, gang. It's in developing an edge in these areas where you have an edge and other people don't. So I would encourage folks to go check it out.
10 years ago, when I was first offered the first deal in a live tournament, I'm sure I was taken advantage of.
Right.
And when I look at it today and look at where we're at and what the things you should think about, yeah, it's definitely different. And I've been taking advantage of other people now. So I love that.
That is a better way to do it. That's definitely a better way to do it. All right. Well, I'll just hit a couple things coming up quickly. I really would like to reinforce the notion of that August 9th, Tuesday the 9th. If you folks want to come together at 7:30 Eastern, particularly if you're any women listeners, please circle that evening. Kim's got some really exciting plans. I don't want to break them on the show here without her to talk about them with me, but she's really been putting her putting some good ideas together. And I think we're going to have some exciting ways for women in particular to share their love of poker, to come and join the group and to get more out of it than they have been, which would make us all happy here, of course. On Tuesday nights, we've got a couple more months where we're doing our Fun Country Poker online play and hang. So this is only for premium members, but everyone's welcome to join us. Tuesday night at 9, we play a 9-handed sit and go, and on the Fun Country Poker platform, which is a lot of fun. You get to watch each other and share a conversation with each other. That's why we call it the online play and hang, because we're all hanging out and having a good time as we play. But it's for premium members. It's free to join for premium members, and one of those 9 people is going to win a $50 Amazon gift card, compliments of Fun Country. So being a premium member, I think I mentioned, only costs $15 a month, and you're going to get 4 cracks a month at $50. That's if you're a life nit like me, come do it.
Who won it last month or last week?
Let me see. I can tell you.
We should talk about that. We should actually talk about that, as long as we're talking about results of home games.
Yeah, you're right. That's a great point. So I'm behind on some emails, so I still have it in my email here. I think that was Joshua Campbell. Campbell, not for the Torinar.
Yeah. Good for
Josh.
him.
Yeah, he's been a presence on our Tuesday night Opas, and he was the winner. Eric Ginn has won a couple of them. I think James Gibson, my man, the real Jim. He's been in there recently. Yeah, it's not just bowling. He knows what he's doing. And we've had some other members in there too winning. Even I won one of them, if you can believe it.
No.
They let anybody win these, apparently.
Unreal.
What?
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Rigged.
I'm not sure. This software must not have all the bugs worked out yet.
yeah, that's right. Asterisk on the Jim win. But that's been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed working with Scott and the Fun Country poker group. That's a great way for folks to get involved and give that a try. And then we saw, I guess, when's the next Monkey System study group coming up? That's going to be on Thursday, August 4th at 7:30 Eastern. That's a great, you heard of Keith Brandt earlier tonight, one of the Wrecking Crew members who's been killing it in the home games, of course, like everyone else. He has his own monthly study group with off-table tools and ways that you can study and practice when you're not on the felt. And that's a great opportunity for folks to pick up some tips on how to improve. And I guess the last thing I'll just say is, if you're enjoying the home games, we're going to be doing our next Heads Up bracket event in September. So you've got a little time to start planning that out, but it'll be the 3rd Saturday in September at 3:00, and get that circled so that you can join our Marek Madness production in January, February, Marek. Yeah, there you go. So we've got a little time to get ready for that, but we do our Marek Madness ladder bracket every year, and this is your way to win an entry. So I hope you get a chance to check that out. All right, folks, should we let this group out of here and roll on home? Yeah, I see Joe Cool in the chat. That's right. For one thing, I'll cry whenever I want. And yeah, it's totally rigged. It's totally rigged. Yeah, I had God mode on. It's the only way I win anything. So yeah, I want to thank, is there anything else, fellas, before we roll on out of here? Seeing a bunch of smiling, nodding, and shaking heads. So then, of course, I want to thank Sarah Stefan from Poker Power for coming and having a great conversation with us, and all our fantastic YouTube. Oh, we got to do the contest. Okay. So you know the rules. Type the word contest into the chat tonight. We're going to give a free month of Rec Poker Premium membership to whoever I roll the lucky die for. So I'll give folks a chance to just type the word contest into the chat box there. And I will say that we've been rolling a lot of ones lately. So the first person to put their name in there, I like their odds. I'm just going to say that, even though we do have a very strict randomizer here. It's a series of nerdy dice that are not weighted. And we should probably start doing these live, let people see what's happening. Let me see. So I'll thank our sponsors again, the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino, and Mark Prashant over at Website AMP. We can't do what we do without you, so thank you so much. All right, I see enough in there to officially roll a die. We're going to start with Eric and work our way down. Nice to see you again, Eric. Hope everything's going well over there. Here we go. And it is Eric. It was a 2 this time, but since we only had enough people in there, I divided it by 2, and 1 and 2. Yes, I know, Donna. That's why you got to too late. All right, Eric Anderson, you know the drill. Send me an email, jim@rec.poker, and we'll get you all sorted out. So thank you to everyone there, to John Somsky, Rob Washam, and Chris Jones, for Steve Fredland for putting this whole thing together, and mostly to you, the listeners. Thank you so much, and have a great week.